Alright. Hello everybody. This is Generic Pie coming at you with another video. This video is not going to be a P-Pin Tom Bombadil video, although I will be looking to make more of those in the future. If you have any games that you play that you think are entertaining, please send them my way with the passwords and maybe I'll make a video out of it. I kind of with a caveat that if it's like 20 turns long, it's like a 2-hour video. So I might make it, but I'm not going to do the really long ones regularly because I've done a few of those already, and yeah, those take a while to make. So this one, I was digging around through some of my old games, and I thought I'd see if I can find another one to share. And this one jumped out at me. It was a good game that I played a couple of months back with Amroth. I know for a fact Amroth won't mind me sharing this game because Amroth personally put it in the reported games channel and told people to watch it. so I think it's going to be absolutely fine sharing this. So Amroth is one of the kind of top players in the ladder, very highly ranked. And I think we just played a game prior to. I think we played maybe 2 games back to back or on the same day. Amroth won the first one, and this time we switched sides. So I was playing as Shadow and Amroth was playing as a Free People. I can't remember this game that well. I know that we were both rated it highly, and it was just a good, interesting game. So let's see how exactly it went. I definitely can't remember the details, but yeah, hopefully it's good. Enjoy. So starting cards were as follows. Free People had Grimbjorn, which is such a great starting card, and File, which is playable, at least, and the best tile. And I had Lord of the Ring and Horde from the East. So yeah, you can't play that until the South ones are at war, and Lord of the Ring, yeah, so not the best starting cards for the Shadow. Fellowship's okay. Put 1 eye in the box, and I roll this, which is quite a nice, I like that roll. Lots of musters, lots of attacks, good stuff, not many eyes. And Amroth got 3 movement, which is also good against just a single eye. Fellowship moves, Fellowship is safe. Isengard goes to war. Sauron goes to war. I pass. Standard army moves. Okay, so we've got the Dol Guldur guys are going up to Old Forest Road. I'm trying to think why I would do that. I don't typically like doing that move, but when the opponent doesn't have a hybrid die to move the Carrick fella down to Old Forest Road, I think that's a good time to do it, especially when you have the mustard dice to also get Sauron to war in the first turn. This is kind of the ideal circumstance, I think, to go with the small army up to Woodland Realm. Fellowship moves again, it's safe. I get into Old Forest Road, the good old OFR. And we move again. And so great start for the Free People. 3 delicious moves. Saruman comes into play. And the Free People move Gondor down. I guess when in doubt, why not Gondor, I suppose. And I attack Woodland Realm. So I'm going straight for the jugular here. No messing around, going straight for Woodland Realm. I guess I could have gone for the north there, but I went for Woodland Realm. Okay, and we draw into Fear Fire Foes and an Ent card, and I draw into The Ring is Mine and Fighting Uruk-hai. So not bad cards, but not great early cards, to be honest. Fellowship's okay. We move on to turn 2. 2 eyes are added to the hunt on top of the additional eye, and the Free People roll this. Okay, fine, decent roll. I start off by okay, so I'm going. Looks like. Am I gonna go and rush the Rohan here? Interesting. Okay, cool. I get hit. No, I hit with the hunt. It's an eye. 1 reveal. Gandalf is killed and revealed into Dimmal Dale. And then so this is a classic case when you don't gamble with Gandalf. You think, okay, I want to make sure, 100% sure that Gandalf dies. You take him for a 1, and then you hit a 3. So that's kind of the worst possible thing that could happen for the Free People there. Amroth decides to take the corruption. Really doesn't want to lose Aragorn at this early stage. And okay, so this I'm actually quite surprised. I don't remember this at all. So I can only presume that I looked at the situation. No Gandalf. I've got fighting Uruk-hai. I know that there's no way that Helm's Deep can be reinforced if Helm's Deep can be reinforced with these dice. So I'm just thinking early bum rush, take down Helm's Deep is a risky play. It can activate Rohan, it can make your life hell, but let's see how it goes. I play a card. Ooh, what card? Oh, I remember this now. This doesn't go well. So this is so dumb. Yes, this is a big mistake I make in this game. This is really, really bad. So I played Deadly Strife. So looking back, you're gambling on the opposition not having scouts. They've only seen, what, a handful of strategy cards, but there's always a chance they've got scouts. There's always a chance. So playing such a powerful card like Deadly Strife in this situation it's high risk, mediocre reward. And it very much does not pay off. So that's a disaster. But anyway, so I trudge on. Fellowship is flipped. I go for Helm's Deep. Rohan goes down to almost at war. Fellowship moves. And they hit again. And this time it's a 0 revealed. So the Fellowship is starting to get hit a bit, being slowed down, which is good for me. Now I play Fighting Uruk-hai. I don't play a card. I get no hits. My opponent gets 1 hit. We go on to another one. NC. And there's a shield wall. I get 2 hits. They get 2 hits back, but one of my hits is eaten up by the shield wall. So now this is looking potentially bad. 5 versus 2. Kind of need to kill that now. If it would be a huge help if I can get 2 6s here. And luckily for me, that could be a kind of a potentially game-changing moment. Getting that second hit there, so I don't have to worry about Helm's Deep in the short term, and I can just take it out. And Amroth doesn't get any hits back. So I've got Helm's Deep early, but at what cost? At what cost? So Amroth starts mustering the Rohirrim in both Edoras and Western Met. I bring the Witch King into play up at Woodland Realm. And we go on to turn number 3. So the 3 people draw into Faramir's, and there is another way. And I draw into, let's see, Warmithor and Toil and Pits of Mordor. So Pits of Mordor is always good. Warmithor and Toil, it's not too late to use that. That could still be very useful. What about the free people cards? Faramir's Rangers, always great. And there is another way, probably a little bit early for that one. 2 eyes out to the hunt. So I'm running quite a lot of eyes. Let's have a look at the stats. No, actually it's completely evened out. So yeah, fairly even dice all round, nothing spectacular so far. And Amroth does not get the will that they need, but they do roll 3 movement at least. Fellowship hides. I play Warmithor and Toil. Amroth passes. I start mustering into Orthanc because thankfully for me, Gandalf hasn't arrived yet, but I do need to shore that up just in case any kind of shenanigans happen, or maybe the Galadriel card is played and he can still actually get Gandalf this turn. I start moving guys around in Mordor. File of Galadriel's played, gets a nice tile in there. Yes, so Amroth says not losing that to Warmithor and Toil. Yeah, you do not want to lose your kind of strong character cards to Warmithor and Toil. So I start moving armies out. Looks to me, yeah, I'm presumably just going all out on Gondor here with those 2 armies. Although I changed my mind. Perhaps to avoid Faramir's Rangers, actually, funnily enough. Obviously, I didn't know he had that, but that could be the thinking there. Or maybe I'm just thinking could be useful if I draw into Corsairs sometime soon. Do I need to move an army into here unnecessarily? Amroth moves the Fellowship again, and they are safe. So I decide to go for Woodland Realm. I play a card. Let's see what I got. In this situation, surely we're going Desperate Battle. And I am against Heroic Death. Let's see how this one goes down. So I get 1 hit on the combat roll. Okay, 3. That's great. Although he does have Heroic Death, so it won't completely wipe it out. I press and draw. When I get that finished off, draw into another Desperate Battle. The question here is, do you no card or do you use the card to try and take it down? I think if I was playing now, I'd probably gamble it with the NC. I press NC. Dum 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 dum. And yes, so this time it works out very well. Actually, overkill, you don't want to waste your 6s in this kind of situation, ideally. But yeah, so I said overkill. And I'm already on 4 victory points after 3 turns. So it's actually been quite a fast military. The Blitzkrieg over here in Helm's Deep could come back to bite me. But beyond that, it's been relatively, aside from the potential backlash, it's been quite a fast military from the Shadow. But yeah, Amroth is building up the reinforcements to make me regret that, perhaps. Yeah, and I do like an ominous face, like a slanted smiley. And I say, so I do the face, he says what, and I say I've poked the Rohan bear, because this is, yeah, if you anger the Rohan, the Rohan can really make your life hell, because it's such a big force pool. He can still muster 4 more elites in there, and at this stage in the game, he's going to have a lot more muster dice to roll, and that can, yeah, even with Orthanc nearby, that's a big concern. So yeah, it'd be interesting to hear in the comments what you think of this play in general. I think I was well aware that it was a risky play, and I don't always do it, but I think I decided just to, I think because I had Urukai, I thought it might be worth the punt on this occasion. All right, on to turn 4. 3 people draw into Aomer and Mithril. Oh wait, did it already have Mithril? No. Okay, and I draw into our Corsairs. Okay, so that's big, and red tile. So this is quite a rough turn for the Shadow. Lots of eyes, lots of Palantirs, literally no attacks whatsoever. I mean, given the fast military and the cards I've got, this means I can get the Southrons to war. I can play Corsairs, probably do that at the very end, I presume. Don't want to give that away. Oh, no, I can't, because I can't even get these guys down. That's not ideal. I could play Monsters Rise. I presume I'm just going to draw a bunch of cards and play the red tile here. Maybe play Lord of the Ring if the 3 people get revealed. Poor old Amroth, though, still hasn't got that W, so that is hurting. I say great rolls all round, rather sarcastically. Fellowship moves with 4 eyes. It does get hit, which you'd probably expect, to be honest. So they're revealed in Western Emin Muil. I believe that's how Tolkien would have said it. Emin Muil. I play Lord of the Ring. What's it going to be? Oh, not that was dramatic. Okay, I draw. Okay, that didn't go very well. Strider. Ouchie. So what does Amroth do? That's again very bad. He decides to kill Strider. I guess because he took the 3 on the chin earlier, going up to 7 at this stage with a rather full Fellowship, that can make Mordor very painful indeed. This means that the Fellowship's going to be slow, but it is going to be corruption efficient. So yeah, that's I guess that's the downside for, if you do decide to not take a random early, on a 3 tile, this can be the outcome later on if you get like a nasty Lure of the Ring, a nasty Candle of Corpses, a nasty Isildur's Bane or something like that. I asked does Swarm Sovereign Tour trigger? It doesn't. He just looked it up. It's fine. Okay, we reload the game. Right. So Southrons start coming down. Amroth uses a tile to get the Gondor to war. I guess he has these musters. Wants to make sure that he can muster up Dol Amroth, presumably. I mean, if I'm in this situation, I'm thinking, what are my weak points? Dol Amroth is always a weak point if you don't have Círdan ships or Imrahil. So, a couple of musters, nothing else to do. Get a couple of elites in Dol Amroth. Seems like a good plan to me. I play the red tile. He does. Yep, there goes one of the elites. Southrons to war. Second elite in Dol Amroth. And I draw into a card. So I draw into Balrog, which doesn't look like it's going to be useful. I don't really have the army to go anywhere near Lorien at this point in the game. Maybe I'll draw into some cards like Shadows on the Misty Mountains or Dunlendings or something, but right now that's about as bad a draw as I could have got. So I'm with the final dice, the final die. Eomer is played, so I mean, once you've got the Rohan to War, that card isn't as good, but it is still effectively 1.5 musters, so still better than nothing. Alright, and we move on to turn 5. So Amroth draws into an Ent card and Celeborns, and I draw into Orc Patrol and Threats and Promises. So we roll, 1 eye in the box, and finally Amroth gets the W they've been waiting for. Gandalf's alive! I start, yeah, so now I'm like, really don't want to lose Saruman. I'm also getting increasingly wary of my need to A, defend Helm's Deep, and B, not get shafted by a massive Rohan army just taking down Orthanc. So I start mustering some dudes in Orthanc. Fellowship is flipped. I'd say I need to think here. And we're chatting about some stuff. And then I play Orc Patrol, which draws an eye. Lovely. Yeah, that's just... that's this game. That's the way it goes. And then I hit with a single dice. So that's really lucky. That is really lucky. It makes up for the eye on... more than makes up for the eye on Orc Patrol. However, not a reveal. 1 corruption. So at this point, don't think there was really much chance of the Fellowship getting into Mordor anyway, given the poor rolls that the Fellowship's had. But yeah, the closest they can get now is using a ring to get to North of Theoden, which they probably won't do. They might do. All right, so I muster a guy. I muster an Oliphaunt in North Rune. I muster another Oliphaunts in North Rune. The old Oliphaunts factories, churning them out. How do you like make Oliphaunts? They just appear. They just have like a bunch of. Is it like a production line? Okay, so Iron Hills is attacked. NC. And I take down that single dwarven guy. He gets murdered by this large Oliphaunt army. That goes well. So I guess my thinking here is get a big enough army to guarantee that I can take down Erebor, and move these, combine these 2 armies perhaps. I mean, could be overkill. I mean, I'm making pretty damn sure that I can take down Erebor, but I suppose I had so many musters. Where else was I going to use them? I suppose maybe down here. Could have got an extra one in here to use Corsairs with to take down Dol Amroth. But anyway, put Erebor under siege. Now comes an Ent card. Oh, 333. That is painful. Big few, capitalized few, followed by a lowercase few. Another. Here comes number 2. And yeah, so that's very unfortunate for Amroth. So you'd hope for an average of 3 hits and Amroth got 1 hit. So that is distinctly poor work from the Ents. They weren't in the mood today. And that leads also neatly into Mithril, Coat and Sting, which I'm guessing you want to get on the board and use before I can destroy it with Warm with Sorrow and Toil. So yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, that's unfortunate, because I think if those end cards do 1 hit, you're thinking, why those could have been so useful in combat, because we all know that some kind of beef is going down here. There's going to be a big battle in Rohan at some point, and those end cards can be huge, as we've seen in some of the other games I've shown. I tell him that's unlucky. So Amroth moves some. No, I move some Nazgul around just to make life difficult for the Fellowship. Amroth draws into Challenge of the King and King Brand's Men. So the King's Brandsman is still usable, which is nice. And I draw into Isildur's Bane. So I'm getting some nice cards to throw at the Fellowship here. And Denethor's Folly, which isn't the strongest card, but might be useful in defending Helm's Deep, perhaps. Or if I do decide to attack Minas Tirith. So Fellowship okay, no eyes added. We have 3 movement. No, 2 movement, sorry. Oh no, yeah, 3 movement. And I get this very nice roll. Lots and lots of attacks. I like to see that one. Fellowship moves, missed. Plus the reroll, also missed. Go for the Isildur's Bane. Draw 3. Okay, so that's big. I presume we're going to see Mithril Coat here, because I don't think the 3 people can afford to take that 3 right now, given the situation. I certainly would use Mithril, especially with Warm with Sorrow and Toil on the board. You want to just use it. He uses Mithril. Oh man, that's just unfair. That's just, I say OMG. Amroth says crap. So yeah, so I say, well, that was something. So this game is definitely going my way so far. Amroth says getting all the bad luck is fine, because Amroth is playing a tournament game after this one. So I attack Erebor with Desperate Battle against... So as the 3 people, you use I suppose it's not really worth using King Brand's Men. Dale's going to fall regardless. The North are nowhere near war. Makes sense to use it as a combat card instead. Get 2 hits on the combat roll. A further hit on the reroll, so 2 because of Shield Wall. And Amroth gets 2 hits back. So yeah, 2 each, which is good for me. I press and draw. Draw into the Shadows Moving. And I choose a card. I go for Swarm of Bats, which I think I could have used that to get armies around the place, I guess. Maybe get Gondor moving. But I decided to use it as a combat effect. What else could have I used, really? The only other card I had no other playable cards really, so I think that's fine. 2 hits on the combat roll through, so great combat here for me. Managed to take an Erebor. So the Shadow Military is going great so far. Amroth draws into Gua here, and I spend ages thinking about what to do. Presumably, why am I taking so long? Yeah, I'm not sure what I was thinking about. Maybe I was trying to decide which way to go here. I think now I might just... I mean, I only need 4 more points. Where are the weak spots? Given where my armies are placed, I might be thinking, don't go Dol Amroth. Go for Minas Tirith, because you've got loads of reinforcements nearby, and it's actually less defended at the moment than Dol Amroth. The 3 people only has 1 Muster Die, so maybe take Minas Tirith, and then go for the 4 cities, or because I mean, where else am I going to go? Don't think I'm going to take both of these anytime soon. So let's see. Okay, so I start getting guys in Umbar. Okay, so I was clearly, I do clearly go for oh right, okay, so that's another option. Just go really hard, muster, and make damn sure that you take down Dol Amroth in one fell swoop. Okay, that's not a nice idea. I go, yeah, go really hard. So this has been a real heavy Oliphaunt game. And that's what, like 8? How many Oliphants have I spawned? They're all over the shop. So the 3 people move. They are, sorry, the Fellowship move. They are now in Mordor. I don't have cruel weather, so they'll be going to Mordor next turn. I start moving armies around, presumably readying these to take Pelargir. Alright, so Amroth now thinks, chuckles, I'm in danger, and decides to pivot to more of a slightly more of a military strategy. I mean, this isn't a hard military strategy. This is, I need to survive, and I also need to get to Gollum quicker. So it's playing with fire a little bit because it makes surviving in Mordor more tricky because you've only got 4 points of protection. But that's a smooth transition down to Gollum, and crucially, the 3 people need to survive to get to Mount Doom and actually dunk the ring. So I think this is a clever ploy. It makes this army monstrously difficult to kill, and means it's very likely that Helm's Deep will be retaken, which kind of needs to be done. And I say, uh-oh. And Amroth says, I'll need some Mordor luck anyway, and probably need some military help anywhere. So I say, yeah, it makes sense. I think that does make sense. I say surprise, and I go for Corsairs. Move that chonky army to Dol Amroth. And yeah, he says pay close attention to my shadow tips, because his shadow tips were like, make sure you draw Corsairs. That was one of the tips. It does tend to help with shadow if you get really good at drawing Corsairs and cruel weather. That will increase your win percentage by about like 20-30%. So I attack Pelargir, NC, no hits, press, runs away to Osgiliath. I leave 1 behind just in case he tries some shenanigans. You know, with this army skulking about, I could really do, you know, if I have one of those apocalyptic turns, I could potentially, you know, they with the through the day and the night go to Dol Guldur, and these guys march down to Umbar. So I guess that's why I did that, just to slow them down. Amroth draws into Weeper the Swifter and Spirit of Mordor, and I draw into Flocks of Crebain and Rage of the Dunlendings. The Bobbits are on the track. In go the tiles. Here's the pool. Got 2 reds, 1 blue. Bit of a mixed pool. Bit of everything there. Some nice tiles, some nasty tiles. Yeah. I literally, it's just, yeah. I might as well just not talk. You can just read the chat. So 2 eyes in the hunt, and the 3 people get 2 movement. They move straight away and draw file, which is lovely. Just what they needed. That's absolutely huge for the 3 people. And Amroth says, now let's survive. So I have a big think here. I go hard on the leadership in Dol Amroth. Amroth passes, I attack Dol Amroth, and I play... what would I play here? I'm not going to play Rage of the Dunlendings, so I'm going to use that elsewhere. Can't play Devilry of Orthanc, so I'm guessing it has to be there. Terrible, right? Oh, I do play Rage of the Dunlendings. Okay, I want to just make damn sure. And it's a versus Daylight, which is not ideal. So I decide to just reduce 1, which kind of works out because I at least get 1 hit. Amroth has a horrible roll, gets no hits. I decide to press and draw into a new Powers Rising, which is fantastic given the threat in coming from Rohan. I now play a character card, which I'm guessing must be Flocks of Crebain. They are terrible. Yep, they are terrible. Great roll. 3 hits. 4 hits back from the 3 people. So I'm doing enough damage here. Got enough Oliphaunts on the boats. There must be some big boats to carry all those Oliphaunts. I wonder what they feed them. Get 2 hits, and Amroth gets 2 hits back. Let's see how the rolls are so far. I feel like I'm doing well with the rolls. Yeah, so I'm +4 on 6s. So yeah, I mean this is definitely going quite. I'd say it's going in my favour. The 3 people are very high on C dice, but low on wheels. The wheels have been very scant, and I'm up. Well, I think I'm up 2 net on attacks, down on Palantirs, and even on the others. So that's, yeah, it's definitely going in my favour a little bit. I pressed 5 versus 1 NC, get the hits, take down Don Amroth. So I think the gambit of just loading up hard on Oliphaunts, making damn sure that you take it down in one action, has paid off. If I'd had maybe 1 fewer Oliphaunt, perhaps that doesn't fall. It was kind of close there. It took down to the last press to do it. Amroth says, I propose a rule change. Gandalf is an army now. And he can move with half a movement. So that tells me that he wants to get Gandalf in here, I'm guessing. I say inevitable. Amroth says there are so many options for the second move, and unfortunately all of them suck. Yeah, I don't know what you do in the situation as 3 people with that second move, or maybe something up here to try and get a guide to defend Rivendell or vaguely threaten Angmar. Maybe you move this guy down here to get across to Dale or to threaten a military on Dol Guldur, something like that. Amroth decides to move here, just to make a slight nuisance of itself. This little dude changes the mind. Oh, okay. Completely undoes all of the action, and instead decides to muster extra fellas, an extra leader and an extra regular in Western Met. So the Rohan are really getting pumped up. I use a new Powers Rising. The armies move. Yes, the moves in the previous turn are done again. Again, they're redone. Okay, now the armies are moved here. So this is a real tactical battle because I'm on 9 VPs at this point. All I have to do is to take Dale, and I win the game. Take Dale, hold on to Pelargir, and win the game. So the problem the 3 people have is they have limited dice. So they have to weigh up, how do I survive? What's the most likely and efficient way of surviving? Can't do anything about Dale, really. I purposefully didn't attack Dale earlier because I didn't want to get into a position where the North could start recruiting army. I think that's why I went for the Woodland Realm, perhaps. Could my plan have really been that thought out in advance? But anyway, I purposely didn't attack Dale until the very end to prevent that coming back to bite me. So what do you do as the 3 people here? Do you use an attack and a ring to take down Helm's Deep? Do you attack Pelargir, which looks likely to be a victory but could go sour if you have a little bit of bad luck? It's an interesting one. I think you probably go for Helm's Deep. Given the disparity between the armies, I think you probably go Helm's Deep and just try and take it down. So what do I do in response? I move this army into Fords of Eisen, even though I obviously can't get it into Helm's Deep. But that also threatens something else, which we will see. Amroth says, I think I have to take a gamble here that your C card isn't an attack card. So now Better odds than winning Helm's Deep. Okay. So I guess what Amroth is thinking, if they attack into Helm's Deep, I can attack them, weaken the army enough so that they might not take Helm's Deep, in which case the game is gone. So what does Amroth do instead? They go for Pelargir and thinks that's better odds. Okay, I think that makes sense. No card, no card. Terrible roll. All terrible rolls all round. I decide to stay. NC, 2 hits to 1 hit. I run away to Lossanak. And what do I do? Oh, something lagged out. Oh, I decided to instead go to Lamadon. Okay, I think we disconnected again here. And then I moved the army from North Dunland up to here. So now it's really tricky to free people because they're defending multiple bases at once. So they're trying to defend Pelargir. They've got to worry about Dale. They've got to worry about taking back Helm's Deep. And they've also got to worry about defending Edoras. And now the Shire. So it's really tricky for the free people here. And I forgot about the mouth, which tends to happen when I'm in these kind of very brain-hurty tactical puzzle type of games, and you get so engrossed in how to try and win the game, or you know, using every single die, you forget about what might be the most important of all, and getting the mouth in play. So we discussed that, and Amroth says getting new powers more important, so maybe it was the right thing to do to not play the mouth anyway. Okay, so then I move this army from Dol Amroth to Lamadon to threaten Pelargir as well. So threats on all sides against the free people. Move on to turn 8. I draw into Dreadful Spells, and Ologhai, and the free people draw into Wisdom of Elrond and Elven Cloaks. So at this point, what do you get rid of? Probably, yeah, I'm not sure. So it gets rid of the Elven Cloaks. Yeah, I mean, it's almost like a luxury to have a blue tile at this point. So I roll that. Lots of eyes, not many attacks, a couple of musters. That's not a great roll. But also not many attacks for the free people. I think the free people could have used more hybrid dies, wills here. That's really not great for them. I use an Elven Ring. Oh no, Amroth uses the Elven Ring, sorry, to get 3 movements, 3 attacks, and goes for Helm's Deep. And says, imagine an evil help unlooked for. That would be, yeah, pretty nasty right now if I could play that against them in Helm's Deep. He asked me about my profile picture, which is just a random dog that I'll use for playing D&D at some point. I moved the guy over to Western Met, so I could have attacked into this army here, but I think the way I'm looking at it is if I put so many places under threat, it's just going to make it just impossible to defend, even if Helm's Deep is taken. So let's see how it balances out. They move the ring, hit a red tile. So that's kind of salt in the wound, because the free people was having a rough game as it is. And then to hit a red tile there, I think that's really unfortunate. But hey, I wasn't complaining at the time. So I take Edoras back. Or I take Edoras back to 9 VPs. But I have no more attack dice. So I can't take Dale and I can't take the Shire. So I could have, if I'd had a few more attacks, you know, really made it hard for the free people, I could have taken 3 more cities this turn potentially. But as things stand, I can only take Edoras. Faramir's Rangers comes into play. No hits, but they do get the musters, which is more important. In this situation, you're not really overly worried about this army, I don't think. Although suddenly Minas Tirith is a concern. The mouth does finally make an appearance. Better late than never. And Helm's Deep is attacked by Amroth. Amroth chooses a card. Since you've got all of those guys in there, I'd probably go for maybe a Sudden Strike. Maybe a Daring Defiance, that could be useful for getting Gandhi into action later. Confusion, yeah, that works. That definitely works. So Amroth rolls just the one hit. Oh no, because the devil. Oh yeah, yeah. It's quite weird seeing Devilry being used defensively. That's quite rare. Oh, so that Devilry gets me 4 hits. Oh, that's painful. That's very painful for the 3 people. Amroth presses. Another Devilry of all thanks. I'm using all the Devilries. Now out comes a Sudden Strike. The Pre gets 2. Ah. So I think that was actually a mistake. I think that should only have been 1 hit. I'm guessing because 3 people usually rolls on 5s. But because we're fighting a siege, I think that should have only been 1 hit anyway. So 4 in total, but should have been 3. But it doesn't make a difference. I've only got 2 guys in there anyway, so yeah, it doesn't mean anything. I get 1 hit back, and now crucially, I'm back down to 7 VPs. The game is still on. He kindly lets me discard a card for Warm Sore and Toil. I flip the Mouth to attack Pelargir. Amroth uses Scouts to preserve that single guy, brings him back to Osgiliath. And with the final Palantir, draws into House of the Stewards, which is annoying because it can only be used in a Gondor region. And I play Dreadful Spells. I'm guessing the only place it makes sense to use this is against Osgiliath. So I get nothing. Yeah, I think in the previous game, the reason I said didn't get your luck with that one is I think Amroth got like 4 or 5 hits with a Dreadful Spells. So, but again, yeah, I've been pretty lucky this game. So Amroth draws into guards, and I will go alone. And I draw into Deadly Strife and Wormtongue. And Amroth just says, "This game is so great." So I think it is an interesting game. I mean, it's definitely swung in the favour of Shadow, but it's one of those real kind of chess-like games where I think Amroth probably knows that the game is likely gone, but it's fun to figure out these puzzles and think, how can I survive? What's the most efficient move? What can I do here? Is there a way back into it? And so yeah, we chat about the game a little bit. And now I roll a lot of attacks, which is what I needed. And Amroth rolls also a very heavy attack turn. And then Amroth realizes that House of Steward only works in Gondor. So I think Amroth was thinking, I don't enjoy this anymore. I was so happy. So I think they were thinking, this is so great. I can get extra guys in this army for using a Palantir. What's the force pool like for the free? Okay, they still got some. They can still muster some nice Rohan units anyway. But yeah, that's a little bit annoying. The Fellowship moves, draws an eye to reveal. There goes the final Hobbit, and Gollum makes an appearance. I can't use Warm Sore and Toil because of the guide ability. Warm Sore and Toil is dead. I play Olokai. Where do I play this? Presumably in Pelargir. Yep. I decide to finally take Dale, which I've been very patiently not attacking, even though I've been staring it down for forever. So yeah, I think my intention this turn is to kind of knock down all the dominoes, take down the Shire, take down Dale, and then win with the 4 cities. So the question is, can Amroth survive? So down goes Dale. Up to 9 VPs. Here goes the Shire. No hits. The Shire fella runs away to Tower Hills. Now up to 10 victory points, the first time in the game. Amroth moves the north to war. Is that with an intention of attacking the Shire, perhaps? Getting a force together and trying to take that back? That looks unlikely. I don't think you're going to do anything in Dew. And moves the Witch King, and I move the Witch King to North Athelion. So now I'm kind of flanking Osgiliath on both sides and getting a sizable force together.
A wizard is never
Oh, the Gandhi man.
He arrives precisely when he means.
Got to wait for him to stop talking.
Arrives precisely when he means to.
So he shows up in Osgiliath. Shit's getting saucy. I attack Osgiliath from Witch King. Gandhi shines. Foul Stench versus Brave Stand. So, how many companions are in this fight? Just Gandhi. And I play Foul Stench. Oh, I can't play the card because... Oh, yeah, so I can't play... Okay, so we just undo the whole thing. And I say to start from scratch, and he says, back to Rivendell. So we just... Once there was a Hobbit. Okay, so let's do this. We pick new cards. He once again plays Brave Stand. Oh, something's screwing up here. I'm guessing I played Deadly Strife, apparently. And I do quite a lot of damage there, so Osgiliath is, hurting. And now this army comes across to try and take back Edoras. I hope the replay hasn't screwed up here. Don't see why it would. Aha! And the elves from Tower Hills also make an appearance. So it's real hanging on by a thread stuff for the free people. I muster a final guy in Orthanc. Ah! Aha! So because of this, I can actually move him into here and take back Helm's Deep. And I don't see how that can stop. How you can stop me there? If Amroth takes Edoras, they've only got 2 dice to attack with. They could move 1 unit here and then attack with the other dice and still make it so I can't just walk into Helm's Deep. Okay, so it's a real puzzle. Alright, so I think something is bugged out here. Maybe because we have to reload the game multiple times, but I think it should be okay to still watch the replay. So attack Edoras, no cards. Oof, I get 3 hits. Amroth presses, plays charge, still has 2... we're still rolling on 5s here, and still has 2 elites to make the charge effective. Hits with both the charges, that's really important. And then rolls 3 hits, 4 hits. Massive, that's really big. I get 3 hits back. So this tiny little army is hanging on by a thread. I accidentally kill 1 too many. Which is also quite important. They press, I stay, they get the hit. And okay, so this is interesting. So if I had killed 1 more unit here, that would have been GG. Because I could have marched down into Helm's Deep, and because the free people would have had to take Edoras, they wouldn't have had enough movement to get back and cover Helm's Deep. So because of this, I threatened taking Helm's Deep back, and with the final movement, one final guy. Oh no, okay, I'm completely wrong. They could have always used the muster, so it was irrelevant. Okay, I was overthinking it. I attack Osgiliath from the Witch King. Not shining. So this is Daring Defiance against... okay, now I'm actually playing Wormtongue. So, and I get 2 hits. Amroth gets 3 hits back. I decide to stop to preserve my army. And we draw into cards for turn 10. The last battle, so a Daylight, that could be useful. And the Grey Company, which is another brave stand, that's useful. Also, yeah, not going to be able to use for that. It's card effect. Now I draw into Foul Thing and Shadows on the Misty Mountains. So how will this game finally end, if it does indeed end? Amroth rolls into mixed roll, but not really enough to do what he needs to do there. Either needed a crazy movement turn to have one final swing with Golem, when that's not happening. I think he probably needs to roll about 4 or 5 movements to make that a possibility. And then how are you going to defend? So runs back into Minas Tirith and gets together a reasonable force to have a stab at the Shire. I encircle Minas Tirith with the forces of evil. Another elite into Minas Tirith. I put Minas Tirith under siege. We prove the Swifter. And moves Legis and Boromir to Minas Tirith. So now all the dudes are in Minas Tirith. We got a fight on our hands. But he decides to undo that. Instead passes. Play Day Without Dawn just to rub it in. And I think that pretty much kills the game. And I think so. I've been so caught up, I'd actually forgotten I even had it, and then I realised, okay, yeah, that's definitely worth using. But even in this situation, I still wasn't quite sure how to efficiently win the game. The only thing that Amroth can presumably do in this situation is use a final ring to attack the Shire and pray that Minas Tirith holds. Beyond that, what else can you do? Okay, so I instead decide to ignore Minas Tirith. I do a little bit of a switcheroo. Move one army along, I move another army in. So I keep the pesky Gandalf crew under siege while making a dash for presumably Edoras. Yep. I go for Edoras. Take it after he runs away. So I think the only way this would work is if, yeah, I mean, how can you possibly survive? Oh, I see. Okay, so now I'm up to 10. Yeah, so got it up to 10. Yeah, what can you do as 3 people? I think it has to be the Shire play. I attack into Western Met just to try and take down those guys and get them off the board. They all die. See you later, companions. Amroth draws a character card. Wonder what they were hoping for there. And I put Helm's Deep under siege, knowing that the only way that the 3 people can stay in the game is by using a ring anyway, so I will then in turn have a ring to finish off Helm's Deep, fingers crossed, later. Here we go for Shire. NC Daylight, which is great. That's a really good roll. 2 hits, I get 2 hits back. Oh, but I am massively over-rolling, so I actually only get 1 hit. So this is actually a great start for the 3. 1 hit, I get 1 hit back. No hits, I get 2 hits back, so now it's 3 versus 2. Amroth gets 2 6s, and I get no hits. So it's 2 versus 1. Now it's 1 versus 1. And I got the final hit. And Amroth was wondering if I still had Grond, which I did not. But then I say I had a ring anyway. Show the cards. And then we actually decide to play out the final battle in Helm's Deep. to see what would have happened. So I'm guessing I would play probably just Onslaught, I guess. Get one hit, and then there we go. So yeah, it was a real puzzle of a game. Got there in the end, but had to try and just kind of back and forth in so many locations. You know, Pelargir was retaken, Edoras was retaken, like, you know, Helm's Deep was retaken, the Shire was almost retaken. Just it was almost like juggling, and games like that, when it does get to that higher strategic level, kind of, yeah, when your brain starts to just throb and make you hate your life. But it's also what makes this game really fun. So yeah, curious to see what people's thoughts are on this game. If you, please comment if you thought there were any big mistakes. I think the one perhaps controversial move was the attack into Helm's Deep early on, which did ultimately pay off, and perhaps made for a more interesting game. But yeah, that move can very much backfire. But yeah, hopefully that was a fun one, and thanks for watching. Cheers.